The movie begins in the Davis family house, and we are introduced to Andy. He is a boy who likes to play with his toys, and his favorite one is Sheriff Woody. Then his mother tells him that everything is ready for his birthday party, and Andy is excited because they'll be celebrating his birthday before the move. While his sister Molly is in her crib, and Andy decides to put Woody down so he can go downstairs with his sister, but suddenly we discover that the toys are alive, and that they only move when humans aren't looking them. Woody tells his friend Slinky to gather the toys for a meeting, but ends up getting pulled by his girlfriend, Bo Peep. Then he starts telling them they need to find a partner to be ready for the move, and that they are having the party early, so it happens before the move, which ends up causing the toys to get nervous that they'll give Andy new toys because they're afraid they might be replaced. So Woody tells them they don't have to worry because the only important thing is to always be there for Andy. But Ham informs them that the guests have arrived and everybody goes running to look at them through the window because they want to see the size of the gifts. So Woody tells them he's going to send the soldiers to take a closer look and that they can use the radio to communicate. But suddenly they hear Mrs. Davis coming and she accidentally steps on one of the toys. Then they continue walking to get a closer look and hide in a plant pot to avoid being seen. The soldier starts telling them that Andy is opening the presents and that none of them were anything important. So they celebrate that he hadn't received toys and the soldiers get ready to go back to the room. But suddenly they hear that his mother had another present and we see that Rex has accidentally dropped the radio. Woody puts in the batteries to listen to the soldiers and they tell them that Andy is going up to his room. The toys start running to get into their places and manage to stop in time so they won't be discovered. Then we realize that Andy throws Woody out of bed to put his new toy, but they leave the room again to play on the first floor. The toys are on their way to see Andy's new gift and they are surprised that he threw away his favorite toy. Woody starts telling them that no one has been replaced and that they must go up to the bed to welcome the new toy. But when he climbs up, he is surprised to find that it is too impressive, and Buzz Lightyear uses his communicator to contact Star Command. Then he begins to say that his ship had been destroyed and that he woke up from hypersleep because of the impact. But suddenly he gets scared upon seeing Woody and starts telling him he needs his help to repair his spaceship. The other toys climb up to introduce themselves and Woody is jealous because he has too much technology. Buzz begins introducing himself as a member of the Space Ranger Elite and everyone is surprised by the way he speaks, which ends up making Woody even more jealous. And he tries to convince Buzz that he's just a toy. So Buzz decides to use his wings to prove he can fly and manages to surprise everyone thanks to his luck. Woody starts telling them that toys can't fly and that he just landed with style, but none of his friends are listening to what he says. Then we see that Woody has been replaced by Andy's new toy and that he has changed the decorations to be based on space, while his friends have also changed him to be with the new toy, and that makes Woody even angrier. Buzz thanks the toys for accepting him into their culture and shows them that their owner Andy wrote his name on his foot. Bo Peep tells Woody that he doesn't have to be jealous, but he approaches Buzz to start complaining that he's taking Andy's attention away from him, and we see that he had accidentally taken off his helmet. So Buzz realizes he can breathe without the helmet, and Woody starts teasing him because he's acting like a real person. But suddenly they hear the neighbor screaming, and the toys are terrified by Sid's behavior because he tortures the toys just to have fun. And we see that this time he decides to light a rocket to destroy a soldier. Mrs. Davis tells her son that they will have dinner at Pizza Planet and that he is only allowed to bring one of his toys. So Woody decides he must deceive Buzz so Andy won't take him and uses the remote control to make him fall out the window. But the RC car tells them it wasn't an accident and that Woody pushed him because he was jealous. His friends confront him about his behavior because he told them that the only important thing is to make their child happy, and they start attacking him to make him pay for what he did. But suddenly they hear that Andy is on his way and he ends up disappointed because he doesn't find Buzz. So his mom tells him he can take another toy and he decides to take Woody to play at the pizzeria, while Buzz realizes that Woody got away with it and he starts running to get into the car. We go to the gas station and Woody is thinking about how he can convince everyone that it was just an accident, but suddenly he realizes that Buzz had gotten into the car and he wants him to tell everyone that it was just a misunderstanding. Buzz starts hitting him to get revenge for what he did, but this ends up causing the family to leave without them on their way to the pizzeria. So Woody starts shouting that he's a lost toy and tells Buzz Lightyear that they only have 2 days to get back to the house because otherwise they won't be able to move with them. But Buzz still thinks that he is the real Buzz Lightyear, and Woody tries to convince him that he's just a toy. Then Woody realizes that the pizza delivery guy has arrived and manages to convince Buzz to go with him to the restaurant. The toys start climbing in without the delivery guy seeing them, and they go at high speed on their way to the pizzeria. Buzz thinks the restaurant is actually a space base, and they manage to infiltrate it by disguising themselves as trash. They then then hurry off to meet the Davis family, but Buzz ends up splitting off to go to the spaceship, which ends up causing him to get caught in a machine, and he asks the aliens if they can lend him their ship, but suddenly they hear that their neighbor Sid is there, and he wants to use the claw to get Buzz Lightyear. Woody starts pulling him to stop him from taking Buzz, but they end up getting caught because of the aliens, and Sid is happy to get a double prize. We go to the Phillips family's house, and Woody is scared of what might happen to them. Sid teases his sister to take her doll away, and then goes running to lock himself in his room, where we can see that he has his own workshop for modifying toys, and that he changes the head of Hannah's doll. Woody notices that the room is decorated in a very strange way, and that they can't get out because the door is locked. But suddenly, he hears that inside the room are some very creepy toys. Because they were modified by Sid's experiments, Buzz is thinking that they are a cannibal species, because they took the toys that Sid had broken. While at Andy's house, the toys look out the window in search of their friend Buzz, and they realize that the Davis family has returned, but that they have lost Woody. In the next morning, Sid uses a magnifying glass to burn Woody's forehead, because he is torturing him just to have fun. Then they realize that Sid left the door open, but the toys block the way so they can't leave the room. Woody scares the toys with karate moves and starts running to escape the house. But suddenly, he notices the dog is on the stairs, and we see that Woody accidentally wakes him up with the noise of his string. So they start running to hide in the rooms, and Buzz manages to save himself by going into the father's room. Then Buzz realizes that there is a commercial for Star Command on TV, and that Woody was right about him being just a toy. Buzz becomes sad upon discovering the truth because his whole life has been based on a lie. So he climbs onto a railing to prove that he is the real Buzz Lightyear, but ends up crashing because he is just a toy. Then Hannah finds the toy on the floor and decides to take him to her room to play Tea Party. Woody imitates her mother's voice to make her leave the room, and then reunites with Buzz to tell him they have to leave. But Buzz starts acting like a drunk person because he was affected by discovering the truth. Woody has the idea that they can use wires to get out the window, and he yells at the toys to help them escape. But Mr. Potato Head says they don't have to help him because of what he did to the new toy, and Woody can't convince them that Buzz is with him because he keeps acting strangely, and that ends up causing them to throw the cables away, since the toys think that he killed Buzz. Then Woody realizes that the toys had returned, and that they were wrong about them being a cannibal species because they only help repair the toys. Woody begins to apologize for having thought wrongly of them because they judged them only by their appearances. But suddenly they hear Sid coming into the room, and that he plans to use a rocket to blow up his new toy. While in the other house, Andy is sad about losing his toys. Woody starts apologizing for his behavior and says he needs his help to get back to Andy. Then he tells Buzz he doesn't have to be sad about being just a toy, because Andy thinks he's the most fantastic in the world, with which he manages to get Buzz motivated again, and they start working as a team to escape the house. Buzz manages to realize that the moving truck has arrived, and that they only have a little time to reunite with Andy. But suddenly, Sid is woken up by the sound of his alarm, and he says it's time to blow up his new toy. Woody tells the toys that he needs their help to rescue his new friend, and we see that they agree to help him with his problem. Then the toys start organizing to distract the dog, and they take the opportunity to leave the house. Woody tells Buzz that he doesn't have to worry, because they've come up with a plan to finally get rid of Sid. The kid notices that the sheriff is on the floor and decides to put him on the grill to burn him for fun. But suddenly the toys start moving to carry out their surprise plan, because they had the idea that they could scare Sid into stopping bothering them. Buzz thanks Woody for saving him from the kid, and they start running to get into Andy's truck. But Buzz accidentally got stuck, and that ends up causing them to not make it in time. So they start running to get into the moving truck, but they begin to be followed by Sid's pet. Buzz decides to jump off the truck to save his new friend, and Woody starts opening the boxes to look for the remote control car, because he has the idea that he can use the remote control to save him from the distance. But we see that the toys start attacking him to make him pay for what he did. Then they go at high speed to catch up the truck again, and the toys manage to realize that Woody always told the truth. So they work as a team to try to get them on the truck, but they're having trouble because RC ends up running out of batteries. Buzz has the idea that they can use the rocket to go at high speed, and they release the remote control car so it can get on the truck, while Buzz decides that he can activate his wings to save themselves from the explosion and begins to fall with style in the direction of Andy's family car. Then Andy realizes the toys are in the box, and we see that he's happy because he had missed them. We go to the new house, and the family is celebrating that Christmas has finally arrived, where we can see that the soldiers are watching to report on the gifts, and they tell the toys that there's a Mrs. Potato Head, but they end up getting scared that the kids got a puppy.
This is how the movie ends. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment on what more movies you would like to see on the channel.